We all participate in simplifying cultures. We associate red with Chinese auspiciousness and white with death and thus taboo. But history is much more nuanced than this. If we critique frog buttons and China maxing as tokens of Chineseness, then why do we as Chinese ourselves keep returning to red and treat it as unquestioned standard of Chinese auspiciousness and thus Chineseness? Some explanation says that red was auspicious because of cosmology and white was death and thus taboo and contrasted against the white for purity in Western culture. But it really explains the what, not the whys and hows. Yes, red was associated with Chinese cosmology, but what's often left out is this. Different dynasties across Chinese history align themselves with different cosmological elements, and red is just one of them. So the auspicious color was never fixed. It shifts with power and dynastical changes. For example, the first dynasty, the Qin dynasty, aligns itself with the water element, which means it was black. And so black became its official color. And then there were periods after that where white gained prominence. But even within a single dynasty, it was not uniform. For example, the 7th to the 10th century, the Tang dynasty, purple, not red, marked the highest rank. And it's only later that red became visually dominant, especially by the time you reach Ming and the Song dynasty. Weddings a lot of times were conducted with red as the color, which is why people today remember it so strongly. But even then, that's not the entire story. Take the last dynasty, the Qin dynasty, closest to us. People often assume it was imperial yellow. But in reality, when you look at paintings of the period, you realize that black and dark blue remain the official colors in court dress, especially amongst officials. Even the term for the Qing dynasty, and they changed themselves from Jurchens to Manchu, the Man, both words carried a water particle. So the water element was the auspicious element. So what we're looking at is not a single timeless color system, but a layering of cosmology, politics, and hierarchy. What we call Chinese auspiciousness is often just the most compressed colored shorthand of a much older and complex system. Red is not the full language of Chinese cultural and color history. It's often the shortcut. It was political, it was cosmological, and it was always shifting. Tradition doesn't mean unchanged. It often just means unchallenged.